Yes. So tell us, why does soca stick?
Yeah,
or why music, period?
Yeah, so we're going to start off with music, and then we'll come down to some interesting things down at the end, right?
Okay, but before you go there,
tell me.
I went to see Bohemian Rhapsody. So we're not talking about soca here.
Okay.
And the music of Queen stayed in my head. I said I was going to see it a third time, and I said, you know what? This music is just not coming out of my brain. Something is happening here, and I didn't go back.
Yeah.
What is that about?
So that, actually, we will get to that for sure, and I'll make reference to Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
So music stimulates a lot of different parts of the brain, and that's why it's so memorable, right? So there's the limbic system responsible for emotions. There's the sensory motor part of you, which is responsible for movement, and also it affects your autonomic nervous system, right? So that's your heart rate. That's so many different parts of who you are, right? And that's really important because there's so much information or so many things that are going on that coding all these memories that is one of the things that makes music stick. Now, music's memorable for that reason, like I said. But what happens when you hear a song that is new, right? And that happens every year because the season starts and there's something that's coming up, right?
Yes.
So we have an internal script for music. So when I say soca music, certain things come to mind, right? You have certain things in your head. And when I say, if I say groovy soca or something like that, something comes to your mind, right? So when you hear a song and it's new, especially if it doesn't match anything that you hear before, it causes you discomfort. It causes you discomfort, which is one of the reasons why when you hear a soca song and it's just so fresh, so different, it doesn't immediately jump in your soul, okay?
Well, unless you're a musician, though.
Well, it's different if you're based on your skill, right? I'm talking about for the general public.
Okay.
For the general public,
so I'll put
right?
myself out there.
Yeah, no, you have to.
Because I hear 20 seconds of a song, and I immediately, if I know I love it, and it might be different from anything I heard before, but I love the musicality in the first 20 seconds, I go crazy.
Well, you see, what you just said, there's something very important also, because there's also not just a script about that particular genre, it's about music in general. So because you have that skill or you've been exposed to lots of music, then that informs the way that you respond to it. So you can pick out more details or whatever it is because you've honed that skill over time, right?
Yes.
But what happens as you hear on the radio, you hear a song, it's like, well, yeah, it's not really jibing. And then by the time February comes around, it's like, why wasn't this song playing all the time, right?
And how come I like it now?
And the reason why that is because as we hear the music several times, we start getting familiar with it. Of course, that's repetition. Yeah. But then we start predicting things that are going to come in the music. Like, for instance, when the hook comes in or when a new verse comes in or chorus comes in. And because of that, we get, when something meets our expectations, it lights up the reward centers in the brain. So when something meets our expectations, it lights up the reward centers. So when you're listening to Marshall songs or even Iowa George songs, there's something very curious about Iowa George songs, which I'm not going to say now. We will say later on. Something very, very interesting.
I like how you have both of them there.
That was intentional. That was intentional. But there's so much complexity in the whole process. And there's so much going on in your body and your mind that it's important to know some of these things so that you know why this song's so infectious, or even why Shadow songs have so much, they're so visceral.
It has so much doy-doy.
Yeah, so much doy-doy. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's really cool. But there's some homework I have for everybody who's watching. Yes. Okay? So reflect on...
So wait, we're not getting everything today?
No, you can't get everything. Well, I want to say something for the students who are in school, but since it's carnival time, maybe I'll say something, especially about some of the other artists that are around. Now, I don't profess to be a great musical talent or have a lot of skills in that area, but
go ahead.
But I think there might be some things that may be revealing about our artists in Trinidad that be very, very curious and how it relates to the mind.
Okay, because I'm going to say what you are saying there to me sounds very instructive to the writers. If I have the information that you are giving me, right, Swampy, as a writer, I can know what to put into the hook, what to put into a song to make it a hit.
That's right. And some of the artists on the scene actually have a very good formula. Yeah. And they build a formula and they deliver that every year. And that's one of the reasons why.
Is that why you reference people like Iowa George?
It's one of the reasons why I reference Iowa. He has a formula, right? And I'm not going to go into that necessarily now, but I think it's important to know because maybe if you find something and it works, then maybe that's what you need to build. Yeah. So the homework, right?
Yes.
This is for you. This is for everybody else. Yeah.
Let me get a pen.
Scribble.
Homework.
Think about the happiest time in your life. Just 2 times are the happiest times in your life. Yeah. All right? Yeah. And your task is just to pick 3 or 4 songs from that time.
Have them already.
Yeah, you have them already. Good, good.
Yes.
And pick, it doesn't matter if it's soca, well, that's the time now.
Yes.
But pick those songs and start your day with those songs. Because you literally give yourself a lot more emotional energy for your day. You understand? You know when a song comes on, it's like, oh my goodness, and you just start smiling.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we want, to create for you every single morning.
So I did not know that. So if I have to go and do a production or even before coming to work, whatever, I do that without knowing that's what you're supposed to do.
Awesome.
I
wish
choose
more people
songs
do the
that
same
bring
thing.
out, you know, that joy, that happiness, or not necessarily happiness. Sometimes you're going to do something, you need confidence. You know, you have to go in that battle mode, so you get your battle song.
Yeah, that's right. And then
Right?
you're hacking your own mind, and that's what we're talking about.
Oh man,
Excitement
that's
with
some good
music,
stuff.
with music, yeah.
Rishi?
What
I
I'm
think
thinking about is she pack up my clothes in a garbage bag. that is the song that came to my mind while you were speaking.
and that makes you happy.
I don't know.
Did someone pack
makes
your
me
clothes
laugh.
in a
I
garbage
just
bag?
no, when you were talking about the hook,
Yeah.
you know, that the first time I heard the song, it was like, you know, all right. But when you heard it on this big speaker box, and you get the bass and everything to go with it, it was like, you know, I really like this.
Sticks,
Yeah.
It gets in your soul.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, before we go, you said you were going to come back to Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, right. Okay.
All those anthems.
Yeah.
Of
So
Queen.
Bohemian Rhapsody was around maybe when we were much younger, right?
Yeah.
And also when I guess one is discovering ourselves, and this was playing on radio. We didn't choose it.
Yeah.
You know? And what happens is there were lots of things that happened around that time that were possibly positive or happy or whatever it is. So now when you hear it off in the future, off in the present, it actually is, how to say it, boy? Yeah.
Those memories.
It pulls it out. So it's just like what we said before. So you kind of covered it when you spoke just now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kheston, thank you so much.
Yes,
Once
always a
again,
pleasure.
This is some interesting stuff here, and I know you're going to be back next week, Monday.
Yeah.
Because we are mastering the mind every Monday here with Kheston Walkins
Okay.
on Neuroscientist.